All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are in my wonderful sixth period class. These guys are totally rock solid awesome. Shout out to who? Shout out to Ashley Poland, little Jaden. All right, there we go. So, in this game, we want to have a timer move my player around the screen. Do you remember that? Do you guys remember how to make variables? Because I got three things at the top of the page: hits, time, and miss. Do you guys see these up here? So anytime you have something being displayed, you want to remember them. So we need variables for them, okay? So the first thing we want to do is start with variables, okay? We want to create a variable called hits, and you just mathematically set it to 0. How many people know how to do this? Thumbs up if you do. Okay, I'm just starting over, so if you have it, good. If you don't. The next one is going to be called game time, and that's going to go not at 0, it's going to start at, anybody know what it starts at? 6th day. Okay. Okay. The next one is going to be called miss. Well, right now, I go to my variables box and I grab one out. That's the first one. And then I can copy and paste that as many times as I want. You with me? I don't have to keep going back to the box to go get it. You guys with me on that? How many people like duplicate in here? Yeah, it makes life easier. You're working smarter, not harder. You with me? So once I get one variable created, I just duplicate it, especially like, do you see how this guy right here, it doesn't have anything on the end of it? Well, once I assign a 0 to this guy, okay, once I assign a 0 to this guy, I can go down here and now I got another miss with a 0 on it. It duplicates everything for me. Okay, so I'm a big fan of duplicate. Copy and paste. All right. So now we have something called screen 1 initialize, and that's when the app starts up. Okay? So if I would add a comment here, you don't have to do this, but this happens when someone presses the app icon on their phone. Okay, so like when you press on your Facebook app, what happens? It goes to Facebook, right? Facebook initializes. So this initializes your app. It starts your app. Okay, I could say that simply, period. This starts my app. Okay, who understands that? So when I want this app to start, I want it to turn my clocks on. That's what governs this app. So I'm going to turn 2 clocks on. One clock called game time. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to look for something that says clock game time timer enabled to something. What's that something? It's going to be true. I want to turn it on. It means it's enabled, it's engaged, it's working. This guy down here, I'm going to duplicate this one because I have another clock called move Sprite. And those are going to be set to true. Now, what I like to do is I like to be a little fancy here, and I like to create a procedure. Because I know at the end, thinking ahead to the end of our game, that once the game has been played one time, I might want to reset the game and play again. Are you with me? So, instead of just repeating all this, I'm going to put it in one block over here, and it's a procedure call, and I can name that procedure whatever I want. I'm going to call it start space reset game. Okay, and now I put all this over in here. Is it still going to call that? Yes, when I go to procedures and call start reset game. So when I initialize and start reset the game, I'm going to have it start reset game. Why am I going to do that? Because I'm working smarter, not harder. And at the end of the game, I'm going to hit reset. Are you guys with me? Let's go do the reset button right now. Okay, I don't even have to wait. All I got to do is go in here and say, okay, hit the reset button, and I'm going to start reset the game. Yeah, you're organizing it. I like it because it's organized. I like it because this is a real simple, clear name that says, what am I trying to accomplish here? Start and reset the game. Because starting and resetting the game are the same. Because they're both starting over again, right? One starting for the first time, one starting over again for the umpteenth time. However, you know what I mean? However many times you start the game. So I like these procedure calls because now I don't have to write it one time. I don't have to duplicate. So I'm working smarter, not harder. And that's a great concept in life. Okay? So like right in here, what I could do is I could go to my variables and start resetting them. Okay? So like my hits should go back to 0. My misses should go back to 0. Duplicate this. My game time should go back to 60 when I reset it. And now what some people forget is that you have to display it. Okay? So what I did is I created another procedure called display my time. And I could have another procedure called display hits and miss. Okay. So then down here, all I have to do is say, okay, after the clock, display my time, and after the hits and misses, display my hits and miss. So I'm going to say, okay, set them back to 0, and then display that it's at 0. Who understands that? Okay. And now I can go into my labels and start displaying this stuff. So here's my label. I go to my text. And I could go get a join, say what I want to say, and put the variable in there. Go get a text box, and here I could say hits, :space, and next to it you're going to put your variable. Go get your variable that is called hits. And I'm just going to duplicate this block right here, and I'm going to change this to miss. Over here, this is going to say miss, :space, and down here, this is going to say miss. Oops, and this is all in the wrong block. Why is this in the wrong block? Yeah. Yeah, it's a time block, so that's confusing myself. So put it over here in this display hits miss box. Is that a big deal? No. All you got to do is drag it over there. What are you doing? Huh? Okay. All right. So can I do the same thing over here? I'm going to duplicate one of these blocks. And over here, I want to display my time, right? So I'm just going to say, okay, this is LBL time. And this is going to say time, :space. And down here, this is not going to be hits. What's it going to be? Game time. Put the game time in there. Okay. So I start the game. Yeah, and that'll work. Okay. So now we have to do the game time. Do you guys remember we did the backpack for game time? Do you guys remember doing the backpack for game time? So now this is cool. You can just go into your backpack and there's my game time. Okay. So now it gives me an error. What's the problem with it? Well, my clock's probably not exactly called game time. There's probably an error with the name. So you can just go back here to your designer and go see what you called it. Yeah, I called it game time with the lowercase t. So what should I have called it? Game time with a uppercase t, and then it should work perfectly. Okay, and there you go. No more errors. Yeah. You good here? So, like right here, I don't need to use this block of code anymore because where is this block of code where I'm displaying my time? It's right there, isn't it? So what I can do here is go ahead and call my procedure, call display my time, and then put this guy in here. Okay, so you don't have to duplicate code like that anymore. Okay? So now that's my whole game time. It's subtracting 59, 58, 57, 56. If I get to 0, it's going to say game over. Siri is going to say game over. Turns the clock off, stops at 0. Any questions about that? How are we doing on this? Good? Okay. Doesn't it feel good to be ahead of the code, not behind it? Okay, so back here we also turned on, this guy right here turned on the move sprite. So now we can start moving our sprite. Okay, so you're going to come down in here to your clock move sprite and go get your timer. And this is the event where you move the sprite. Oh, there is one thing I like to do in here is we didn't set the time intervals. So it's always good to set the time interval. Have we talked about time intervals this year? 1,000 milliseconds is a time interval. How much is 1,000 milliseconds? 1 second. That's correct. So if I set the game time is running on seconds, so it should be set to 1,000. Right? The move sprite. Do we want move sprite at 1,000? No, that would be deathly boring. Okay. And we're going to set it to 500, which is half a second, which means I like to think of it in terms like this. 1,001, it just moved twice. 1,002, it moved 4 times. 2 more times, right? 1,003, it moved 2 more times. So moving twice in a second, that's how I like to think about things. How many times did that occur in a second? Like 10 milliseconds. If you set something at 10 milliseconds, that's moving 100 times in a second. 1,001, it just moved 100 times. 1,002, it just moved 100 more times. I mean that is so ridiculously fast. You couldn't set your game at that. There's nobody in this world. Matter of fact, nobody would ever catch up with it. The only way you would tap the sprite is if the sprite hit your finger when you tap the screen. If the sprite would run into you, you wouldn't get the sprite. You guys with me on that? But we will talk about time intervals later on when we do. We're going to do the difficulty level today. Okay, that's pretty cool. All right, so I set these timers. Okay, so now this guy's going slow at 1,001, 1,002. This guy's going fast at 1,001, moving twice. 1,002, moving 4 times. Okay. So now you're just going to go ahead and move your sprite. So you want to set the x and y coordinates randomly. So just go set x, y coordinates, and I like to copy and duplicate this, and I like to get my y. Yeah, get it to work. I don't know. Your name was probably on this paper up here if you forgot it. Is that what you're telling me? You forgot your login? it's going to work if you put it in correctly. So that means you just typed in something wrong. Remember, we studied zeros and ones, and they have to be exact. Passwords and usernames have to be exact. So in this math box, you're going to randomly move this guy. So there is a random integer from 0 to 1. So we want to go from 0 to something. Do you guys remember talking about this last week? We could not let it go off the screen, so we end up doing this equation right here. Do you guys remember that? The width of the canvas minus the width of the sprite, and the height of the canvas minus the height of the sprite. That's what we came up with deductively when we did this little lesson here. Okay, so when you go back here, blow this up a little bit so you can see it. I'm going to do a math subtraction, and I'm going to go the width of the sprite where is it? Width, there it is. Okay, and the width of the canvas. So the width of the canvas minus the width of the sprite. That's as far as you can go. So if the canvas is 300 and the sprite's 50, you're only going to go to 350. Now the reason why I like equations here is that everybody in the room could have different sprite widths. And if you're on different phone sizes, you could have different screen widths. Who understands that? So that's why it's not good to say, hey, only go to 300. Well, you might be on a tablet today, and this might be 500 pixels wide. You don't know that. So that's why we always you try to use equations as much as you can. Now I can duplicate this, and this is going to be the height, and this is going to be height. So the canvas height minus the sprite height, that's as far as you can go down. Once again, anytime you can use an equation, it's smarter. You're actually working smarter, not harder there, if you learn how to do equations. Okay? Cool? Cool? All right, so do you guys want to play and pause this guy? Play, pause it? That's what we did today. We did play pause today, toggling the button, and we did the difficulty level. Which one would you rather do first, difficulty level or play pause? Play pause. All right, play pause. So, are you guys up to date with me now? So everybody should be starting the program. All right. Oh, we didn't do sounds. Do you want to do sounds? Oh, no. We haven't touched the sprite yet. Have we touched the sprite yet? Oh, okay. Let's go ahead and touch the sprite. So we got to tap it. So if the image sprite is touched, there it is, then our hits increase. So you're going to go and set your hits. Yeah. That was the first thing that we've done together. Now you're already telling me to slow down. I went to image sprite touched. When you tap the screen, and if you touch the sprite, you get points, right? Whack-a-mole, you get points. So I'm going to go ahead and say get image hits +1. Yes. The plus is in math. It's in there. 0 equals plus. Third one down. It's got to be in there. If you're looking in the math box. Did you go to the math box? You sure? Blue math box, 0 equal plus. Yeah, it's because that plus sign and division sign look really close together. Yeah, they look really similar. So once you get a hit, right, you get a point, what do you have to do with it? Which we've already done today. Working smarter, not harder. Don't we have to display it on the scoreboard? Don't we have to, hello? Don't we have to display it? Because if you get a hit and you don't display it, guess what? Nobody knows. You guys ever been to a basketball game where a guy makes a shot and they didn't put it on the scoreboard? Yeah, I mean, that can happen. The guy can make a shot and you not display it on the scoreboard. Does that mean they didn't make a shot? No, they made a shot. But the problem is they just didn't display it, right? So what you do in here, you just go to your procedure and say, hey, call display my hits and misses. Done. Display hits and misses. We did that today. Right here. Instead of eating your candy, you should have been coding. How do you miss? How do you miss? How do we calculate a miss? Yeah. Right. And if I don't touch the sprite, what am I actually touching? The canvas. Very good. So actually, if you hit the canvas, you miss. Does that make sense? So actually, if you hit the canvas, you miss. So if the canvas is touched, and by the way, do you guys see we're touched any sprite in here? I want to learn how to use this. I want to learn how to use this right here. Because it's in there, and it has something to do with the train of thought that we're working on right here. I don't know how to use it. I don't know how to use this and get it to here. You know what I mean? Okay. So I know it accepts touched any sprite is equal to. I know it accepts a true or false value because it allows me to put that in there. Okay. I don't know if it would see. Yeah, it doesn't have. It's not a global variable. So. Okay. So yeah, I got to figure out how to use this. I don't know exactly how to use it yet. I'd like to know. Somebody does research on it tonight. It'd be cool. So if I touch the canvas, then I'm just going to come down here and duplicate all this. This is going to be a miss. Miss goes to 1, and then I'm going to call display my miss. Now, it would be cool at this point in time to play our sounds for hitting it and a sound for missing it. Are you guys with me on that? Do you guys remember we put sounds down here? Sound for a hit? I don't know. And then down here you could do a sound for a miss. Okay. Now, the only thing is you have to load up some sound bites into these resource files. Do you guys know how to do the sound bites in the resource files? No? Okay. So, like, if I would go into my my music library, if you go into documents, I think there's something called. Let's go into libraries. I think it's in libraries. Here it is, music. So, like, if you go into music, there's sometimes a lot of machines have sample music, and what I could do is go to Audacity and open up this kalimba. Okay. This is the kalimba song here. That is really small. Okay, there's my, okay, that's really stretched out. I don't want it that stretched. Okay, there's the kalimba song. It looks like it's, wow, it's, okay, it's 5 minutes and 30 seconds long. Can I play all 5 minutes in my song? No, okay, you can only play like, what is it? This would be less than, do you guys see where this is like less than 30 seconds here? And all you have to do is hit play. And then I like this part right here. Little riff. So, what I can do right here is you just select part of it that you want. You can only play like 30 seconds. I did 45 seconds today, and it came back and said it was too large. So if there's a lot of beats and a lot of background music, and it has to record all these different sounds, it's going to take up more memory. So you're going to have to reduce your file size. So I'm going to go Export Selection, and I'm going to go Kalimba Short, and this is period 6, right? Okay, so that's my short. And now let me show you what you can do here. You can blow this up, okay? And you can actually get like a hit and a miss sound here. So see that little part right there? Play it. That's actually really long. Okay, this is where if you guys control zoom in and zoom out, you guys with me? So I want to get that really short piece there. You want to make these really small. Is that a hit or a miss? That's a miss. So File, Export Selection as miss, period 6. Okay. Now let's go find a hit. How about a hi-hat hit here? I don't know if I liked it. That's a hit right there. That's a hit, right? So Export Selection, that's a hit, period 6. Okay. Now, once I have those exported, and you guys can see how I just ripped all that stuff from Kalimba in Audacity there, you go back to your designer, and then you just go to your sound. So here's my background song. You go up here to your resource file, source file, upload, choose a file, and you go to your, oh man, where's this saving to? Yeah, there they are. So there's Kalimba short period 6. Let's see it. Now if it loads in here, watch this. If it loads in there and you see the words in the box, that means thumbs up, it loaded correctly. If you get the error message and says, hey, it's too large, then you got to go back and cut that down again. Okay? Let's go to sound 1 hit. I'm going to go to my source file, upload, choose a file. I'm going to go hit period 6. And then I'm going to go sound miss, source file, upload, choose a file. And I'm going to go miss period 6. Okay? If they upload in there and you see the letters in there, it uploaded successfully and now it will play. Okay? But the only thing is we never turned our song on. So we're going to have to go here to start reset game. We're going to have to go to our background song and turn it on, start it. And there's one more thing you need to learn about background song is you want to loop them. Remember we got a really short segment of the song. So you want to learn to go ahead and loop that song. And you go to looping's true. And now it'll play that song over and over and over again until they're done playing. Okay? And then we come down here, we touch the sprite, and we play the sound for the hit song. We play the miss, and then you're done. Okay? There's only one thing that's weird in here, is that this guy, it's not going to work correctly because every time you touch the sprite, you're also touching the canvas. So you're getting a hit and a miss at the same time. That's not good. So what we have to do here is do a little modification. And you have to do global miss -1. Okay? That's just something weird. I gave that was your homework over the weekend. Um, 2 students did figure that out. Okay? They went home, thought about it, and they're like, hey, yeah, I need to subtract. Take your jacket off. Don't complain about it being hot when you got a sweatshirt on. Solve the problem. Okay. All right, what's next? Play pause? Or do you guys want to do the level buttons? Play pause? All right, so let's go hit the play pause button. And if you remember, we did this last time. We have to create a counter here. So I'm going to go to variables, initialize account, C-O-U-N-T, and initialize it to start at 0. Go to your variables box, get a count, initialize global variable count to 0. Thumbs up, you're with me. And now every time they hit play pause, I'm going to count how many times you hit play and pause. Click play 1, click play 2, click play 3, click play 4, 5, 6. I'm just going to count 7, 8, 9, 10. If it's odd, I'm going to play or pause, and if it's even, I'm going to play. And that's all we care about is either odd or even. Every other time you hit that button, you're hitting play and pause. That's what they do on this right here, right? Okay, like right here. If I hit pause chord, what happens? The blue pause comes on. It's just toggling back and forth which one's alive, which one's enabled, which one's not enabled. Okay, that's what they're same thing. Play, pause. So I'm live again. So I'm going to count, set the count to be count plus 1. Get the count, add 1 to it. And then you need to do an if statement on it. Yeah, go ahead. What do you not have? So, if we have to find out if this is odd or even, okay? This is going to blow your mind if you don't understand modulus. So let me do some mod work here so you guys can understand mod work. So I'm going to take a pen here. So we're going to go 0 divided by 2. It goes in there 0 times. Remainder of 0. 1 divided by 2 goes in there 0 times. Remainder of 1. 2 divided by 2 is going to go in there 1 time. Remainder of 0. 3 divided by 2 goes in there 1 time. Remainder of 1. 4, you guys see what I'm doing? I'm dividing my counts by 2, okay? This is 2 remainder of 0. This is 5 divided by 2. This goes in there 2 times remainder of 1, okay? So, what do you figure out about all these? Every time your remainder is 1, what kind of number do you have? Odd. This is even. This one is odd. This one is even. This one is odd. And it's going to keep going. All you have to do is look at this right here. And that's what the modulus does. It just looks at the remainders. It doesn't care about what number I'm on, because we could go to infinity. Okay, you guys with me on that? So, back here. If we're going to do a modulus equal to, if the math modulo, there it is, modulo, if it's in the math box, if the count divided by 2 is equal to 0, and then you can copy and paste this. You can copy and paste this and set it equal to 1, okay? So 0 is even, and what we want to do here is I'm going to create a simple procedure called play. And I'm going to create another procedure called pause. Does everybody understand those play and pause? Okay. So if it's 0, we're going to hit play. And if it's a 1, we're going to hit pause. And now all we have to do is specify what do you want to happen when you play the game and what do you want to happen when you pause the game. So play turns the clocks on. So you go down here to set clock timer enabled to true. And then here you duplicate this and you get the clock move sprite is true. And then over here in pause, what's it going to be in pause? What should the clocks do when you're at pause? And what should this be right here? False. It just gets turned to false. That's all you do. Okay, this guy goes to false. That is all you do. Okay. And then right here, you don't want to be able to tap on your player. Can you stop talking, please? And you go to your player, and you're going to disable that player so you can't tap on it. So this is true. And this is false. Okay. And here's another thing. You don't want to be able to get misses during this either. So when you pause it, you don't want to get a miss. You can't just keep hitting the thing and getting misses. So the only way I know to cover this is to set your background, set your canvas visible to false. So you can duplicate this here, go to true, duplicate that, and over here set it to false. So that'll turn everything on and off. Now, do you guys want to switch the images in the button? If you do, then you go back to the BTM play pause and you set its image. Let's go find image. There it is. Okay. And you have to go get a text box. And you have to go back to your designer and see what the exact name of it is. This guy is called AGT underscore pause dash Q. And then what's play? Play PNG. Okay, so you have to get the exact file name in here. It works, it just you don't put it in correctly. So what I'd have to do here is you go back to BTN pause and go to its image. And you set its image to be the exact file name. So this would be AGT underscore pause dash QUEUE dot PNG. And then this guy was easy. This one was a lot easier. And this is another reason why you want good file names. This guy is just play.png. Okay. And that's how I would do the play pause button. Tomorrow we'll do the difficulty level. How many people got some of this? Video's out there. You guys can go check the video.